you all, I weigh and measure from the Grey Sheet. I like to say I'm compulsive overeater and bulimic, and I'm abstinent on the Grey Sheet as my kind of mantra because I'm just so grateful for that basic fact. My abstinent date is the 10th of October 2022. Really, really happy to have this opportunity, but it's my first qualifier, so I'm quite nervous. And I hope this helps anybody else. Like, I hope this will help, like, just even one person. I think that would be really good. I would like to share kind of where I've been and kind of what brought me here and why I'm specifically here. About 20 or so years ago, my journey with food, my recovery journey began. Food brought me to my knees, like, just in an absolute way, very, very early in my life. I grew up in Ireland. I didn't really in rural Ireland, and I didn't really have access to kind of much information outside of what was really available to me in my local kind of town where I went to school. And I really, I grew up in a Gaelic speaking area. It was very culturally heavy, and there was, I know that sounds all very romantic, but it was also very, very closed. And I knew there was something really, really, really wrong with first of all, I think with my own relationship with myself, but particularly as that translated into food. I had a mix of everything. I was quite overweight as a child, but then there were times when I just completely stopped eating. I didn't really know what, I didn't really know why. I know it made me feel safe. It made me feeling empty, felt safe, but also feeling really, really full, felt like love. And I think probably I remember my 16th birthday, just really realizing that there seemed to be a part of me that was totally against me, as I would put things in my mouth that I didn't want to eat. And I was so sad and lost because I didn't think there was a way forward, and I didn't know how to, I didn't really know how I was going to continue to live. It's quite I know I'm coming in quite hot saying, like, that resulted in a suicide attempt very early, because I just felt so lost. I was studying at the time, and I would get up in the morning and I would promise myself I wasn't going to eat, and I would try to swear off, and I would beg God, and I would just find myself knee deep in binging again. Anyway, through going to mass one day, I heard about AA, and I heard about people going to treatment centers, and I managed to look up like the big telephone book kind of and find like this treatment center, and I rang them, and I said, like, I don't really know what to do, but I can't stop eating. And I had tried to read around addiction and various different things, but yeah, it just I knew it was going to kill me even then. And it wasn't about weight. It was mentally, I felt like I was if you took like a ruler and like bent it like that, you know, like let's say it's like wooden and you're kind of bending it and it's about to snap, like that's the feeling, that's where I was. And I told my parents, I think I was 20 at the time. I was in uni, having barely survived it, kind of in and out of just exams and binging and not eating and then overeating and then just the thing. And I said, look, I'm going to go up to this treatment center. And they were, you know, my dad said to me, they're going to laugh you out of there, Lynn. Like, you don't have a problem. And I thought, well, I don't know what I'm going to do if they don't take me. And they did take people with food, and this is part of my journey to Grey Sheet, which is why I'm sharing about it, because it was really basic. They had a lot of a lot of AA members, but they had just begun to understand food, and there was a little questionnaire, and I answered yes to everything, and I was just praying that, like, I thought, oh God, I've said yes to everything. She's just going to tell me to go home. And the counselor came back in and she said, you know, Lynn, it looks like you have a very serious problem with an addiction to food. And how does that make you feel hearing that? And those were the best words I ever heard. Like, I just felt seen. And I'm going to kind of fast forward through the kind of next 20 years, because I got abstinent in that treatment center in the way that they and I defined it then. And I have been abstinent since, but not Grey Sheet abstinent. And what I found was the road, as I attended, different factions of food fellowship, you know, the road got like narrower and narrower and narrower and narrower. And I would discover, okay, I'm in a really good place. Why am I still having these cravings? Okay, cool. Like, I know I'm abstinent, but I'm not feeling peaceful now. But everything was good enough for when it was kind of good enough. And then I would grow and change and learn, you know, and that it wasn't serving me. In any case, after, as I said, about 20 years or so in kind of general OA recovery, I discovered OA How. That was cool, except I could see the difference on and off the grains. You know, I could see and feel the biochemical, but also the spiritual and emotional reaction I had. I could recognize the shift in myself from different foods. I could recognize my thinking changing. I could recognize a kind of a hungover feeling is the only way I could describe it. Like my mood, like my baseline would be like really affected by particular foods. And again, I felt really lost because, sorry, pre-OA, how I felt again really lost as I thought, well, you know, these are all healthy things. These are not trigger foods. This is that. Like, what's the answer? This is like not, something's really not right. Something's really, really not right. And so about 3 years ago, I've got a couple of businesses here. I live in New Zealand now. COVID had hit. They hit the businesses bad. I was abstinent, but I wasn't peaceful. And I thought, God, I know I've handed everything else over to you. I'm willing to be joyful. I'm actually just willing I'm willing for peace in my life. I'm willing to be happy. And please kind of direct me. And I kind of came across Grey Sheet. I really wasn't aware of it. Like, even when I was in OA, I actually wasn't aware of it. And I came across the website, and I started with my first Grey Sheet sponsor, which was it was a whole new start, and it was very loving, but it was very loose. I think I was I needed that kind of start and relapse and like off of
Five
the gray sheet.
5 minutes,
Thank you.
Lynn. 5.
Thank you, Nancy. I really needed that kind of start to really see how rampant and alive, you know, my dis-ease, like, you know, kind of still is, because getting abstinent on the gray sheet and then losing it, choosing to lose it, I saw I had a choice. I'd ask God, I'd ask my higher power for help. My sponsor would say to me, this a solution to your food. And I saw that I saw the things I needed to do, and then I stopped doing them, and then I didn't have that peace anymore. And I kind of had to have a real think about it. You know, I spent kind of about 3 months, and speaking to my husband, I was like, it's a big change, you know, like it was a big shift for me. I felt like, well, do I, you know, am I really, really prepared to go to not so much any lens, but to put this first? And I kind of was out there a little bit. I wasn't binging. I was just not gray sheet abstinent. And it felt really, the only analogy I had in my mind at the time was like, let's say like a carpenter or somebody who makes furniture, I don't know what they're called, those people, like, and they're like using this machine to like plane the wood away, you know, and like the wood kind of comes off in curls, and then like you have this beautiful table or something, but like you kind of, the thinness of the curls is kind of almost you know, it's so fine. Well, my happiness and my joy was kind of coming away each and every day with choices I was making that were not sitting with me well. And I said, did a lot of praying, came back to meetings, and again prayed. And I said, God, you know, I'm willing to actually be happy. I see now how I can be. And I found a very loving sponsor. I didn't care what she could have told me to go to the moon and back. I didn't care. And I don't care. I'm like, I'll do whatever. Because I think my quality of life, and I think what I owe the people who I owe it to myself, I owe it to my higher power. I feel like I owe it to my husband, the people who love me, to be the best version of myself that I can be. And I cannot do that without being abstinent in a way that my heart knows is completely right for me. And for me, that's this program. I get a bit nervous because I was sharing with my sponsor, you know, I have some newcomers kind of reach out, and then I share with like how I'm working my gray sheet abstinence and the things that we're doing. And you know, I was just saying to her the other day, I don't know, do I come on a bit strong, or it's like a bit, you know, it's a bit like strict or something. I don't think I do, but what I just realized this morning as I was thinking about this share is that nobody could ever have given me that willingness, like first time around, second, whatever, like nobody could have been like, Lynn, like, here is the willingness to do this, or like I had to go through my own journey of
1 minute, Lynn. 1.
Thank you, of getting abstinent, of losing it. I have to go through this journey now. I had to go through those 20 years. Like I had my journey, and I believe, and my message kind of today for anybody who's kind of not sure or feels like they're doing a really bad job, or like is like lost and confused, that like, I suppose my message is just that we can't, everyone's journey is different. We can't force it. You know, I'm speaking to these newcomers. I can't, I feel like there's something beautiful that happens within us that kind of just shifts a willingness, and yeah, there's some, you know, it can't be faked. I couldn't do this before I could do it. And why I say in my mantra, like, I'm abstinent on the grey sheet, because that is the most important meetings, readings, yes, my calls, all of those things, but my food, you know, and I'll finish on this. My mother-in-law is visiting from Ireland. I've met her twice in my life, once on my wedding day and like another time. She's here for a month. I was out the wazoo stressing about how she was going to, I weigh a measure in restaurants, but I was worried what she's going to say about my food, what she's going to do.
Time, Lynn.
Thank you. It's all in the fridge. It's all packed. It's all committed. And I'm able to actually just be there and be like, okay, I'm fully here to know you and see what you're like. And that's all thanks to this program. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.